We use it every single day. I mean, it dictates so much of our lives, right? But have we ever really, truly stopped to question what money actually is? We're about to break down the fundamental ideas that shape our entire economic system. And let me tell you, the answer's probably not what you're expecting.
So let's start right there. When you hold a bell in your hand or you see a number pop up in your bank account, what are you really looking at? What actually gives it value? The answer, as we're about to see, is both way simpler and a lot more surprising than you might think.
All right, to get to the bottom of this, we have to strip money down to its absolute bare bones essence. And when you do that, you find something, well, something pretty unexpected.
And that's the first big reveal. All the coins, the bills, the digital balances, that's not the money itself. They're just the containers for the money. At its core, money is just an idea. It's an agreement we all share that these symbols are worth something. It has no physical substance at all. Now, this distinction is absolutely critical. Thinking of a number, say $5 or $5 million, is effortless. It costs nothing. The idea is weightless. But creating the form of money, the physical bills and coins, or the secure digital networks, that takes real energy, real labor. We have to separate the concept from its container. So here's the crucial point. Money is just a tool. Creating it isn't some grand achievement. It's an idea that's literally conjured out of thin air. Its only job is to make treating things easier. So you can think of it like a placeholder, a medium for exchange, not something that's valuable in and of itself.
Okay, but if it's just a simple tool, why does money so often feel, well, so heavy and burdensome? That question brings us to the very heart of our current system and the completely inseparable link between money and its twin, debt.
This right here is the fundamental ironclad rule of the entire system. You cannot have money without debt. They are created together. In our system, money is literally born as a loan. It is lent into existence. And that single fact, well, it changes everything.
The process is just incredibly simple. These two events aren't separate steps. They are two sides of the very same coin, and they happen in the exact same instant. Money is created, and in that same breath, debt is born. And this is where a huge problem starts to emerge, a core conflict that's built right into the DNA of our monetary system. Here's how it plays out.
Now, think about this for a second. Money is created to flow through the economy, right? To move from person to person and make trade happen. That's its whole job. But the debt that's attached to it demands the exact opposite. It demands that the money stops flowing and goes back to its source to be destroyed. So the very purpose of money is literally at war with the way it's made.
And if you follow that logic all the way to its conclusion, you arrive at this pretty startling realization. Since all money is created as debt, paying off all the debt would mean destroying all the money. The entire money supply would just vanish. As if that contradiction wasn't a big enough problem, there's another layer to this that makes the whole thing mathematically impossible to solve. And that layer is interest. Okay, let's use a super simple model here. Imagine the entire amount of money in the world is just $100. That's it. Every single dollar that exists is right there. But here's the catch. The total amount of money that's owed back to the source is more than $100. It's the original $100 of debt plus the interest. The system is demanding more money back than it ever created in the first place. And that's the paradox. That's the trap. Interest is a claim on money that doesn't actually exist. It's a mathematical impossibility. You simply cannot pay back more money than was ever put into circulation. The system has a built-in shortfall from day one. So what's the result of this mathematical flaw? Well, it's a constant, relentless pressure on everyone. It creates this permanent scarcity, forcing people and governments to compete for money that just isn't there. And the only way to find the money to pay the interest is to take out new, even larger loans, which just feeds this vicious cycle. So, how on earth do you even begin to solve a problem that's this fundamental? Well, according to this analysis, the solution has to be just as fundamental. It means we have to rethink the very source of money itself. The core idea here is this. The entity that creates money should be like a neutral referee, not a player in the game. Its only job would be to provide the tool, the money, when the economy needs it.
not to be a participant who's also demanding that money back plus interest. This leads you to a conclusion that is both incredibly simple and, honestly, pretty radical. To fix the system's inherent flaws, you have to break the link between money and debt. And if money is no longer created as a loan, well, then the whole concept of charging interest on its creation just becomes obsolete. Of course, this all leads to one final enormous question. What would a world built on these principles actually look like? A world without interest and without monetary debt? What would the consequences be? And that's the thought I want to leave you with.